made is because I heard a guy on YouTube talking about you cannot survive without being a freelancer. You have to have a full-time job to back you up, right?
Mhm.
So at that point, I already freelancing and already making more than like how I was making when I was full-time, right? So I
Yeah.
just made a video to talk about that. So that's how I started my YouTube channel.
Yeah. All right. So we are recording. Today I have on Caleb Lai. He's a designer. He's worked as a freelance designer for a number of years. He runs a YouTube channel. It's out of the channel's name is Caleb Lai, his name. And he basically puts out content on how people can get into freelance design and what they should study. So Caleb, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm just going to roll into the questions. So the first one is, where are you originally from, and what made you wanted to get into design, tech industry design specifically?
I'm originally from Hong Kong, so I finished my college in Hong Kong, and then I went to Vancouver, so where I am right now, for working holiday. So I studied design in school as well, and then after I graduate, I come here about 6 years ago. How I get into tech, like tech is sort of related to design in some point as well, right? Because they're a designer, they're a developer, and I'm the designer role. So I started my career as just a graphic designer, so doing like print design work, website design, and then in my first job, I started working for a company called Azim Zen. So what they do in the company is there'll be a lot of product internally. So I'm the designer to basically do most of the design in that company, right? Because this is a small team. Well, the team is so much bigger now, but when I joined, right, there were like 5 people. So I'm the only designer in that company. So they will have a lot of ideas from time to time. They'll be like, hey, we want to build this. They'll have like hackathon sections. So that's like where I get into sort of the tech scene, right? Because I help them to build a lot of internal products, and one of them is called ZenHub. They're pretty popular now. But after that, like I worked there for about 2 years, and then I left the job to work for another company called MetaLab. So they work with a lot of big clients. So they work with like Google and Facebook and Amazon and all those like big guys, right? And they design Slack as well. So I worked there for about 9 months or close to a year, and then I started Alfio, and that's what I'm working on right now. So that's sort of the background.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. And so you mentioned the Zen Hub product you're working on. Was that all design you were working on with that product, or were you actually doing some of the software engineering as well?
Well, I wasn't like doing a lot of front end in that product. It's like the project is pretty big at that time. I was designing marketing sites. I was designing, because basically, I don't know if you heard of ZenHub before, but ZenHub is a software to help people manage their code better. Well, it's on GitHub. So ZenHub is a plugin on GitHub.
Mhm.
So if you use GitHub, then if you want to implement kind of project management functionality features into your GitHub account, right? Then you can install ZenHub. Then they have a Carbon board and all that. So for the design side, it's not really heavy on the design. One of their product was the Carbon board, like I just said. So I was the designer to design that Carbon board. But other than that, it's not like very heavy for the product side because it's basically built on GitHub. So they have a lot of GitHub UI in it. So I wasn't like really one of the difficult thing I guess was to kind of implement on top of GitHub. So you have to have two kind of style, but they have to kind of collaborate together. You can't clash with the GitHub UI.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't like really doing a lot of like really heavy product building in that project. But I was the only designer. But it was a long time ago now. They're quite different now. That was about like 2 years ago, and things change a lot.
Yeah, 2 years is a long time in tech, definitely.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you started your own company now, and is this a design studio, or what type of services are you offering clients?
That's pretty interesting. So I was freelancing before I started my own studio, right? So I was freelancing a little bit right before I left MetaLab. I was actually freelancing for 1 or 2 clients as well. And then at one point, I sort of realized that maybe this can be a real thing, not just freelancing, maybe I take it to a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Alfio right now, it's a business, it's a studio. So what we do is we help the startups in San Francisco or like pretty much like anywhere in the world. So we help them build products So anything that you can imagine, from a concept of a startup to finally building an MVP or launching the real thing. So we help them to kind of help them to build the ideas as well. Sometimes they just have a concept, right? They don't know what to build on. So we give them some of my advice on like how things works. But yeah, the product design is what we do most. We also do logo design. We also do illustration work. We do a bunch of other things as well, some animation. So that's pretty much like what is it in our field. The team is still very small. I mean, I'm still the main designer for UI and UX work, and I work with a bunch of other sort of contractor from around the world. So yeah, like basically I take a project myself, and then I work with the other contractor together on the project. So that's like the how sort of our field function.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if someone, because that's pretty interesting that you're able to do that, move up from freelancer, running your own team now and doing your work. And that's kind of something that's interesting about these fields that have less regulation, like software engineering, design, internet marketing, is once you get that base skill set, you can then run a team. So for you, how did you make that decision to start your own team? Was it just that, you knew that you could do all the work that you're being hired out for these startups with your own team, or you knew how to get the hires, or how did that cement itself, that idea in your head?
Well, it's as you know, right? Freelancing, it's just one person, right? Freelancing is always one person. And when you work on a project, there are a lot of different things in the project, right? There's not just product design. There could be front-end development, there back-end development, logo design, illustration work. I myself, I'm not good at a lot of other things. So I'm not good at logo design. I'm not good at illustration work. So I don't want to take on those work. So my mentality or my principle of designing is like, I want to put the best people in the team to produce the best work possible. So I don't want myself to handle things that I'm not good at. So I want people to hire me for my expertise, not the other thing that I can also do, right? Yeah. So freelancing is only one person. So I need to, like, if I want to achieve that goal, I'm going to have to put together a team to do it. And I don't want my client to just hire me and hire some other people to handle the other projects, right? So from a business standpoint, I think the opportunity of having a team is bigger than just an individual. So that's one thing that I can put other people in the team together to work with me, and they're all under our field. So when I present myself to the clients, I can say like, hey, we can do this kind of thing. Not just I can do this. I'm like, we can do all this thing that you need to work on, right? So right now I'm sort of expanding to doing like some other front-end development for my clients as well. React.js. I myself, I'm a front-end developer too. Like I code a lot of websites I design, or like the products I design. So like I do kind of both, but I'm like the main skill is still in design. But yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is the benefits of running a business is also, I think the tax is definitely one thing, right? Tax right now, if I make a certain amount of money, right, then if I'm a personal solo person freelancer, right, then I'm gonna have to pay a lot of money for tax, because if my bracket is very high, right? Yeah. But as a business, then you have kind of tax deduction, because I mean, as an entity, then the bracket is much lower. So let's say if you make 500K, then you only pay 14% for your tax, right? So things like that. It's good as a saving account as well. So the tax benefits and the people, and you also give more trust to your clients as well. Yeah. When they think about hiring you, right, they could be, this is a corporate business, so I'm hiring a business, not just an individual. And that happens a lot as well. When I'm working with a freelancer, right, I hire a lot of developers right now at this point because I'm building another app for myself. And a lot of these developers that I hire, they would just disappear out of nowhere. That's very surprising. I mean, I'm paying the money too, right? They will be like working for a few days and they're gone. I can never reach them anymore. But I can't trace them back because they're individual, right? They can be anywhere in the world. Yeah. But I think like as a business, then there's some kind of policy that you can stick to, right? So you give your clients a level of trust as well when you're building your business.
Yeah, that's interesting. The tax thing I was aware of, but I haven't heard someone focus on that. That's a good point. And then
tax is a big thing. Tax is a really big thing.
For freelancers, it is.
It really depends on how you freelance as well. Some freelancer, if you don't hit a certain amount of money, right? Me personally, I think I'm gonna work for a full-time job if I don't make a certain amount of money. Like if I'm not making more than my full-time job can pay me, right? I'm not going to freelance. Like what's the point? Because freelancing is stressful. Like you have to constantly think about if I have things to work on next month, right? Like if I don't have anything to work on, then I basically am not making any money. So it's very stressful in your mind. So if you constantly think about like, am I marketing myself enough to like a certain point? But full-time, it's just basically you go to work every day and then you get paid regularly, right? So I would say like if you're not making enough money more than your full-time job, then I'll probably just get a full-time job. But usually the people that do freelance constantly, they make quite a bit more than how they're making from their full-time job.
Yeah. Those people that are able to continually get clients. Yeah, that's the part that does seem a little bit tough about freelancing. It's almost like you have to learn your own like sales pipeline too in order to have enough clients. You kind of have to develop that.
Yeah. For sales pipeline, that's one thing. I mean, I'm still pretty new, right? I'm just in this in this business for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
So I'm not like having a long history of experience in it, but I can say, like right now, one of my main source of leads, clients is from referral. So I think that same as a lot of other businesses as well. If you good client relationship and other people refer people to your funnel. So that's one thing that I get client quite a bit. I used to be on a lot of other platforms as well. You can also get clients from, let's say, on Drupal, if you have your Drupal profile. So people will reach out from you on Drupal. I used to get a lot of clients from a site called Angelus. I don't know if you heard of it.
Angelus, yeah, definitely.
So that's a website for startup to host their profile up there. They can list their jobs. They can look for designer. They can look for developer. So that's one place that I get a lot of clients from. And especially before they have a feature called the freelancer. So they have a tab, a page called freelancer. So my profile up there is very top of the list because I think a lot of people click on profile. So we're constantly getting leads, maybe like 3 or 4 leads per week.
Oh, wow.
Right now though, they removed that feature. So freelancer, not a tab on Angelus anymore. So they removed that. So for the past 4 months, I get no leads from that site at all. So from like 4 per day to no leads, that's a big decline, right? So that sucks. That's a lot
of leads you're getting from Angelus. That's like really surprising. I didn't know they used to have that.
Man, I do like promote that site so often. I'm like on my channel, right? I always mention like Angelus. Like guys, go and create your profile on Angelus. Go on that freelancing page because a lot of startup want to hire people within the same group as well, right? So if they're on Angelus, they know that these kind of designers, they design for startups. So they want to hire the similar people. So if you have sort of the portfolio that matching their skill requirement, then you will get hired pretty easily. So on Angelus, like passively, like inbound leads, basically right now is almost 0 for the entire year so far. But another feature that you can do on Angelus is, I mean, you can do outbound as well instead of inbound. So one of my tactics on Angelus is I try a lot of different things. So one thing that I tried did work for a few times is like I will message, you can message investors on Angelus. Message investors. So they have a lot of investor on Angelus, right? So what I would do is like I will send them a message, personal message, and say like, hey, you know what? I am running this business right now. I'm trying to get clients. And if you know any of your startup that you invest in, if you're advising some of the startups, then maybe you can give them a shout. If you look at my portfolio, if you do like my work, then give me a shout. Then, when I get a client through you, then I'll give you, let's say 20% commission fee for the project I take on. So I think it's a win-win, right? So they make the money, then I make the money as well. So they're sort of like my salesperson, but I don't want to hire a sell that way. I don't want to just hire a salesperson to do that because connection is key, right? So if those kind of investors, they have, let's say 100 connection with other people, then their group is more. Then when I reach out to them, right, sometime I'll get a reply and they do help me out to refer some kind of business to me. So that could be one of the inbound leads that I get from like sort of working with a salesperson. Another way is, there are a lot of job posts, right? So I don't care about what kind of people you're hiring. I don't care about if you're hiring a contractor or you're hiring full-time. As long as I see a job that kind of matching my skill that I think I can help you out, I'll send them a email. Not email, but I'll just apply to the job and say, hey, you know what? I'm running a design studio and this is what we do. Check out our link. If you like the work, then usually we can help you save more than 50% from the money that you pay to your full-time employee per year. So we can do a better job than your employee, and we can help you save 50%. Because, you know, like those companies, they pay, let's say 150K, 100K for a designer per year, right? Most of the time I work with my clients, I don't even charge them more than 50K per year. So, but I mean, the result is great. Like don't just believe what I say, right? Look at the work that I do. Yeah. If you do like it, and if you think that we can help you save 50K and potentially help you to build better products, then you should hire me. So I do get like some leads from there as well for outbound leads. But right now, so far, in this year, right, I get enough work that I'm working on right now, so I'm not like doing any outbounds. When I feel like my workload is going down, then I'll still doing more outbounds. But right now, it's all like coming inbound leads. That's pretty much how I get clients. But I mean, there's a lot of other things that I tried out. Again, I'm not the expert. I think I'm still thinking about like how the other agency make work. So let's say MetaLab, right? How do they have clients to reach out to them? Like, do they have a salesperson? Yeah. How does any other agency survive, right? So I think they must have some kind of sales team to help them generate the leads. But I'm not like doing anything like that right now. And I don't have time to do that. And another thing is like, eventually I may kind of move up from this business for a little bit, since like right now I'm building my startup as well. But yeah, that's sort of what I have.
It sounds like you're pretty busy.
I'm super busy, man. Like, dude, like I literally work. I mean, my day-to-day is basically 9 o'clock when I wake up, and I work from home as well. This is like where I live. I work from home as well. So basically what happened is I wake up at 9 o'clock and then work for my client's projects until, let's say, 6 o'clock. And then I will talk to my team in Asia. So I'm building an app right now. I'll talk to my team in Asia. So I'll work with the team until like, let's say 1 a.m. in the morning. And then on my app, right, and I'll go to bed. So every day I'm basically working the entire day. Yeah. That's stressful. But you know, you got to do what it takes to achieve your goal. And I do think that the app I'm building right now will be great. So that's one thing that I'm pretty hopeful about it.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, to work those hours, I feel like you have to be excited about what you're doing. To really
every time when I see some progress right now, for the app that I'm building right now, it's called Classity. Like, I designed the entire thing, the entire project. I have ownership of the entire thing, like all little aspects of the app, from like any links. I know how that works. So I'm down to the very single pixel. I know like what pixel is it going here, right? Yeah. So when I have ownership so much of a project, I'm very excited about it. And the team helped me to build it to come to life. Seeing the platform coming to life, it's just so encouraging. I'm like, I just want to go full time in this and keep building it and launch a perfect product. But there may be like other product stuff I can talk about eventually. But I mean, right now, I don't want to talk about anything because I don't know if it's going to be successful. Yeah. I'm just putting my time right now.
I got you. It's hard to talk about things before they've happened. It's like, you don't want to jinx it. Yeah, I got you on that. I'll have to do a follow up in 6 months or a year and see where it's at.
You see Classity somewhere on the websites. I'm going to do some advertising, then check it out. I think, you know what? It's been very interesting. I only have my page up, like I have my Classity web page up on the websites. I didn't do any advertising on it, but from time to time, I'll get like 50 people coming to the websites per day, and there will be like
that's pretty good.
One sign up almost like every other day. So I get almost like 50 startup signups so far after I put the site up, right? So I think people are kind of wanting this kind of thing to happen. Yeah. But I can talk more. I mean, I think it's out of the scope of this call. But I mean, like, there's a lot of thinking into like, why would I want to do this product and why I think this product is going to work. Yeah. But yeah, like I think we can focus more on freelancing for this call, and we can have another one.
No, I mean, we can get into it because it's kind of like one of the things I try to hit on is that these skills, especially the ones that you've gotten into, you know, like something like design and front-end development, you know, they kind of blend well because they're used. Most projects require all of them. You know, most new products that come out, if it's a software product or an information product, you know, they require internet marketing. If it's software, it requires software engineering. They all require design of some type. They all require, you know, copywriting. So it's like all these skills blend nicely. And that's, I mean, you're actually a perfect example of that career path because, you know, you started with one, you know, specific skill, design, freelancing it, and then you're building an agency, and now you're going even past that, you know, freelancing with a team and becoming an entrepreneur. So you're actually like a perfect example of why I think it's interesting to develop these skills. What I will talk about that I think you could help, that'll help people more than just a product. We'll talk about that too, is like, did you consciously think about stacking these skills so you'd be able to build your own products, or why did you choose the skills you chose? I think it sounds like you focused on design and development.
Development is sort of a skill that come a long way when I'm designing. So one of the things that I mean, my skill set originally, right? I originally studied packaging design, so it's nothing about a website. It's more like about like print work and packaging design, right?
Yep.
But like when I step more into the web design thing, you know, website. I think everybody start from building a website first. So when you know how to build a website, then I feel like my skill set, like I don't want to just limit myself only knowing how to design websites. I want to tap into like thinking about the entire, and I'm this kind of person that I like to think as well, right? So thinking is one thing that I like to do. A website, usually you don't have to think so much unless you're building a super big site, but that case, it become more like a product. So I like the thinking side of things. So when I get into UX and UI, right, I'm just like, this is something that I really want to do. And when I'm working with the team back in Zen, right? So that's where I sort of pick up more of my development skill. Because a lot of product that I build, eventually I'm going to send those design mockups to my developer. So what the developer does is they will take my design and they will sort of implement it in whatever way they think it makes sense. So like sometimes the pixel may be off, like it's not same as like the thing that I work on, right? So I want my design to be, and I'm really picky about the little details as well. Like if I design this to be 30 pixel for the padding, I want that to be 30 pixel. But what happens is a lot of people, after I send it out my design, right, it's not like coming back to the thing. And I noticed it once when I look at the products where I noticed so many things are off. It's very hard for the people, even I try to develop some of the people design, right? It's very hard to design pixel perfect, to develop pixel perfect design because you're not the person to work on it. So I'm like, if in that case, right, I may want to just handle the development myself as well, if I can do it. And I already know how to do sort of simple development things for my personal portfolio. That was the very first project I worked on, to building out my own portfolio, because I need that. Like I don't have money to hire people to build my own portfolio at that time. So I'm like, I'm gonna learn it and do it myself. So I know how to do that, but I want to step up my game, right? So that's where I started to like actually developing for products and think about like how do you keep a product's sense? I mean, how do you develop the code that can work for the entire product? So your CSS has to work well in different pages. So how do you organize everything? So that's how I kind of I grow my development skill into become a more hybrid designer and developer. But right now, if you ask me, like I don't think my development skill will be as good as like for the technical side, right? I don't think my development skill is going to be as good as a front-end developer that only does front-end, because you know like the development is very huge as well. Like what I know is only the surface of it, like how HTML and CSS work and how to make things pretty like aesthetically pleasing. But I don't know a lot of like backend definitely know, but a lot of even front end knowledge, I don't have it. So I need to constantly go online and search like Stack Overflow and all those sites, right? But yeah, like that's I guess my only goal is to develop the front end, is just to make sure that my design is just looking like how I design it. So that's my only goal. I don't care about so many things, and I don't want to spread my skill set too thin as well. I don't want to call myself like a hardcore front end dev and hardcore designer. But people know that, right? One thing is, when I'm hiring developer for my personal project, for my startup, I constantly seeing developer call themselves know how to design, right? Like when I read their bio, they're like, yeah, we can design website as well. We can design website. And when I see that, I'm like, dude, so what? I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're good at. Like, I don't want to hire a person that says like, you can do this and that and that and that, right? So right now, one of my thing when I pitch to my clients, I never mentioned that, at least not in my profile, that I said I can design and develop, right? Like that's not in my pitch when I send an email to clients, right? And I'll say I can do it. Right, but eventually, I add this as an add-on. If you want to hire me for that as well, it's an add-on. But my skill set is very focused on product design, not development. If you need help with that, I can help you too. But my expertise is definitely in the design field.
No, definitely. I ran into a similar problem when I started getting into marketing for startups, because there's so many different things you can specialize in. And when you start interviewing and people are asking you, what kind of marketer, what channel do you specialize in? What type of work do you do? And you're like, well, I can do some copywriting, I can do some funnels, I can do some paid ads. They're just confused. They look at you, they're confused. So how would you suggest if somebody's thinking about what skills to learn? You've worked with a ton of freelancers. What skills would you suggest people start with? And then when would you suggest they, if ever, try to learn any additional skills?
I would definitely say, in a lot of my videos as well, I keep saying that you should have one skill set that you think you're the master in it, right? So you have to master one skill set first. So let's say if you think that design is the thing that you like to do the most, I think you should spend a lot of time to master your design skill. So when you get there, right, when you constantly have a lot of people wanting to hire you for design tasks, then you can think about, maybe I can expand my skill set to other area. But I guess like before you get there, before you get to a point where you think you're the master in it, then you should keep polishing your skill first. But it really depends on what is your interest, right? Other people may like development so much, right? They don't want to design so much. There must be a reason for that, right? Why do you not like design? Why do you like development? Maybe you're a person that like looking at the codes, not really creative. So there must be a reason for you to choose one thing over the other thing, right? So I guess like that's where your strong point. If you think development is your thing to go with, then I would say you just like focus so much into building your development skill until you get to a point where like Google want to hire you, Apple want to hire you. But before that, right, then I think you should keep polishing your skill. I mean, nothing is impossible, I would say. Like maybe it sounds really crazy, like Apple hire you, Amazon, all this thing. But I do work with a lot of people, especially like one developer that I know, he never went to school for it. He just developed a lot of app by himself, and he get the skill, and then he got hired by Amazon with no degree or no nothing, right? So it could happen, like things like that could totally happen. It just depends on like if you're focused enough in that thing or not. So when you get that right, I think like whatever you do, you will be successful, but you have to be very focused on one thing first. Nothing's wrong about learning another skill, but I think like focus is very important at the beginning phase.
Yeah. No, like I said, I've heard that repeated more times than I can count. Okay, so we were talking about your app. What is your long range goal for your app? Do you want to talk about that, or Alphael? Like, what's your kind of end goal right now, the way you see it with where you're taking your
interesting. So I'm literally like I'm going to incorporate Classity maybe like this week. But for Alphael, like Alfeo right now, I think I'm still going to run it at the same time. But like Alfeo, I constantly thinking about a way to scale it. Design there are a lot of successful studio out there as well, a lot of really successful agency. But I think Alfeo is definitely not anywhere close to it. Like the revenue that coming in for myself, one person, I get paid really generously. Like right now, comparing to my previous work, right? So like my salary, it's much higher, but I think it's no way matching any other studio that are in the market right now. Think about MetaLab, right? A project for them may be $1 million, maybe $10 million, a lot of money, right? But right now, Alfeo, my maximum right now is not even 100K. It's not even over 100K per project, right? Yeah. So the thing is really not matching. A lot of my clients, not a lot, but like a few of my clients, they talk to MetaLab before, and they also get a quote from Alfeo. Dude, like my quote is not even 5% of that quote from MetaLab. So I'm like, man, so this kind of thing is just crazy, right? Like you can see the scale is so much. So I think Alfeo still have a lot of potential to grow, but I think it definitely take a lot of time. It take a lot of luck as well, like finding the right clients and the right clients who want to hire a small team. I think the hardest part for a small team to grow is because you're small, people just don't want to pay a lot of money for small teams. And when you don't have a lot of revenue coming in, right, it's very hard for you to scale. So one thing right now, it's very hard for me to scale. And how do I plan to run Alfeo after Classity is finished? So I think Classity is going to be the main money driver for the long term, because right now, Alfeo is basically just me doing most of the things, right? So I can like scale so fast, and it's hard for me to find talents as well. I just want to do the best work possible, right? It's very hard for me to find the similar talents to help me with the projects. But for Classity, as a product that launched to the public, right? So I can give you some more background about Classly. So Classly, as the name suggests, right, is an app that you can go on there and you can host your classes. So imagine right now if you go to Cresslist, right? They have a list. They have a tab called the lessons. So you can go on there. You will see a bunch of lessons, right? So people will put what they know on Cresslist, and people will book through Cresslist. But so Classly is basically similar ideas. Where when you go to the product, we'll see a bunch of classes everywhere on the map, and then those things where you can review the teacher. You can see, hey, this is great. I can book it. But one kind of difference from other class booking app is that Classly, I don't want to focus in academic that much. So I don't want this app to be purely for academic. Yeah. It could be, I mean, you can host your math classes and whatever, right? But I want this class to be for whatever you can think of. So it could be like a person to teach you how to fly a drone, right? Yeah. You can come with me for a day. I can teach you how to fly a drone. Yeah. You can go to me on a beach. I know how to build a sandcastle. So you can go with me on the beach and build a sandcastle. Yeah. So you can, anything that you can think of.
And is this in person or is this booking to get lessons online, or is this in person?
Right now it's in person. Right now it's real time in person, but I think I'm going to focus on real time. So whatever we do, it's going to be real time. So eventually I think we can expand because the business is very big right now. A lot of people, they're still booking. So let's say if I want to go to institute, right? So if I want to learn yoga class, right? So yoga class, what I would do is I would go on Google and search yoga class. And then I will see a bunch of advertising from other yoga class studio, right? So I will go to those kind of thing to hopefully it's good, right? But then like I like what I can trust is basically just by what they say on their websites. But there's no way that I can know like who's going to teach you, what they're going to teach me. So eventually, right now, like Classly is basically C2C, and then eventually it's going to be B2C. So I can expand the business to let's say talking to this kind of institutions or even like community center. I can have them to put their classes on Classly. So everything can be on one platform. Whatever you want to learn, just go on Classly. You can search anything, and then we happy to track your progress as well. You know how much you're paying for everything. You know what the teacher feedbacks are. So their tracking system, their payment system, and everything that you need to learn and do is basically just on Classly. Everything is on there.
You have outsourced developers working on this for you right now?
Yeah, I have 3 developers working on it right now. I have like 2 guys for QA. I do the most of the product design, but I also have an illustrator to help me draw things. So I want it to be pretty, right? And then I also have a animator to help me work on some animation work for advertising sort of thing. So it's sort of a big team right now. So I have one is Outfield, one is Classly. So constantly I'm just looking at this channel, like two Slack channels every day. But,
that's exciting though, man. That's like you're really making your dreams come true. That's like it's completely something in your head that I did for this app, and just like making it come to life with that big of a team. That's like really impressive, man. That's like
I've been building that. You know, like there are a lot of different talking about like how should you build your products, right? A lot of people will tell you, hey, just build something and launch it. As soon as you launch it, you can get client feedback and all that, right? I think that's true. In a sense that like if you're building something that nobody ever built it before, so you want to test the market, right? Then I think it totally makes sense to build something really quickly and launch it and test the market. But if you're trying to improve on existing market and just trying to get better, right? You have to give people a reason to switch to your platform, right? If you just launch something real quick, then what's the point for me to switch to it? Because it's not finished, right? Then I would not do that. Yeah. So imagine right now, if you want to beat Uber, then you can't just build a crappy app in Uber. You have to give people a reason to why should you change from Uber, right? Yeah. So I think like all this thing, I've been building this app for from design. I'm not working on it full time, but I work on the design for almost like a year. And then for development, because a few people working on it, so it's been like almost like half a year. But the thing is, I like to me right now, I think I want to launch a product that people would love to use. So like I think my mentality is similar to Apple, right? They won't launch shitty things. They want to launch the final product that you will love to use and people love it. So that's sort of my mentality when I'm building my startup. Will it fail eventually, miserably? I think it might, like really, like it could not work, right? But I think it just maybe people are gonna say you're crazy, but I think building something that I would love to use myself, at least for myself, right? I'm building something that for myself as well, because I teach swimming too. I'm a swimming instructor. Back when Yeah, before
Nice.
I start
Shadow
this,
career.
yeah, like before I start this whole design career, right? I was working my summer job when I
Yeah.
was lifeguard
Yeah.
while I'm doing my summer job when I was in college, right? So I'm also teaching swimming at that time.
Yeah.
So before all this, right, I'm like, dude, I need a way for me to teach better. So I'm sort of building this platform for myself as well. So I think as long as I'm building something that I would love to use myself, I think other people love it as well. So that's sort of my
Yeah.
mentality when I'm building this. But yeah, like I think that's so far like cover what happened and what I've been up to. Why would I want to be Classity and my goal for Classity? There are definitely a lot of phases that it's not everything. I'm not building 100% platform, but I'm building the core feature that you cannot use the platform without it. I mean, there are other phases that I'm gonna work on, but right now at this point, I think I have the core thing, and then I'll launch it, and so people can start using it. I'm planning to launch it this month too, so it's very exciting.
Classity, we'll have to check it out. And you're saying that your version of a minimum viable product is a pretty much 100% complete, but just your core product, and then you're going to expand out the features from there.
Yeah, like well, I mean, for the core part, right? I think it's the case, but like for me, right, I think a lot of like I've been working with a lot of startups as well from Classity, so I learned a lot of things while I'm working with my clients, right? I worked with more than like 50 clients in the past 2 years, so that's a big number of clients, right? So I can really see how they launch their products and what advice that I can think like they would give me, right, when they tell me what to do. So I think for the MVP, you just can't launch your MVP for just. Again, I think it really depends on what kind of thing you're building as well. Just back to what I said, right? If you're building a product that you're not even sure about yourself, there's no market for you to take reference from. Like it's totally a new thing, right? Then yeah, you should test the water because there may be a lot of no, right? But Classity is not a platform. It's not a new idea. I mean, a few other competitors are already doing the similar things, and I think
who do you think are like the most similar? Can you talk about that?
There's an app called Take Lessons, so you can check them out. Take Lessons, and there's some other apps, but I think they're not doing really well. So I think like for new products to beat other clients, to beat other competitor, there are only two things you can beat them. One is with the quality of the thing that you're offering. So the quality is very important, right? So how people you use your app, what is their user experience? So that's the quality, right? So when they use it, they love it. And the second consideration is the price, right? So when you're launching a product, if you can launch it half the money of what other people are paying for the other products, right? Then you will definitely win. Think about Uber right now, right? Think about Uber, how to beat the taxi market. Because taxi user experience is not good. It's very hard to flag a taxi. And Uber is very convenient. Everything is through your app and it's cheaper. So that's why Uber, when it launched, right, it just beat the entire market because when you have these two things right, then your products will be successful. So that's sort of the mentality of Classity as well. I'm beating them by the quality of the app I'm building, a better experience, better UI, everything is better. And other people, they're charging 30% right now for their commission for each class. Most of them like 20 to 40%. That's the market rate. I'm only charging 8%. And that 3% is going back to you because we have to use Stripe to securely transfer your money to your account, right? So 3% is going through Stripe, and I'm only taking 5% from your revenue. So I think that's a much more reasonable price for the people to take part in this whole kind of community. Because right now there must be a reason why people are still using Classity so much, because like any other app that does a similar thing, either they don't have a lot of students looking for classes up there, or they just don't want to pay the commission because like 30% do. Like if I take $100 from my class, I pay $30 to you. That's for a lot of money, right? And the other thing, they charge both sides as well, not just the teacher side. They charge the students as well. So for Classity, students is free. Like you don't have to pay $1 when you use Classity as a student. You can have all the tracking and everything. Because on Classity, we recommend people to both teach and learn. So there must be something you can learn as well. So one thing is when you sign up for Classity, right? One account is doing two things. You don't have to open two separate accounts. One account, you can do both things on the same account. So you can take something while you're teaching, and you can take something while you're learning as well. So that's the whole thing, right? So that's sort of why I think I can beat the market. But so far, when the people I talk to I show the app to people and show how it works, how it looks, right? So far, the feedback is very, very positive. So I'm really hopeful about this whole thing.
That's exciting. And you just do like discovery calls with people, like you go and hit them up online and say, hey, can I, get you on a call and show you how this works?
I did that. I also talk to your friends, right? I mean, Classly is one thing I think everybody can use, right? So I don't have to find a specific person to interview and have them try it out.
Yeah,
so
you can use it with most people.
I just show them the app after I finished the entire design on InVision. I show them like, so when you're on this page, what kind of thing, if you want to do this, where would you click on the page? So I get a lot of information from my friends as well. And then I do some iteration on it before I get something a bit more solid. And then after I think it's good enough, then I start working on the front end code. So I have the whole REPL of all the front end code linking everything ready. So you can click through the entire prototype in the code. And then I hire the backend developers to help me to put everything together. So they take all my front end code and then implement backend technology into my front end. So that's the whole thing, how that whole thing works. But it's working very, very well so far.
Man, that is exciting.
That's super exciting, man. If I'm not that excited about it, I can't keep myself working so many hours on this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like I just can't imagine myself spending this much time every single day on this app if I'm not excited in something I'm building. It's not just the money that I think you will come in. Is that like the thing that I build? I'm building something I love to use myself and I can use it myself as well. I can imagine like on a weekend, right? If I don't know what to do, I can go in Classly. I can search classes around one-day classes, and then I can go there and book the class, right? I think it's
You're
great.
You're gonna be on there like all the time.
Yeah, I think I will be using it quite often as well myself too. So I think one thing to get yourself excited about building something is you have to build something that you think yourself use at the end, right? If not, then if you're just building something for other people, then I don't know how excited I can be because I can take part in it eventually, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, exciting, a lot of exciting thing coming up.
No, that is. I mean, totally. I mean, that's why I'm doing these interviews. Is back when I was first trying to do freelancing. I was in the military for a while, got out, wanted to start doing freelance stuff and, working with entrepreneurs. I didn't know how guys like you got started. I was like, how do these people do this? Like, a guy goes from being a lifeguard to a freelancer to like running his own firm, baking his own startup. Like, it's crazy.
That's very scary. When I was working full time, right? Back in my studio's time, I was talking with my other college, right? Yeah. So they would be like, yeah, I don't know how that guy can survive by just freelancing. How much money can you make from freelancing? You can hear a lot of talks on YouTube as well. Like the very first video I made is because I heard a guy on YouTube talking about you cannot survive with being a freelancer. You have to have a full-time job to back you up, right? So at that point, I already freelancing and already making more than like how I was making when I was full-time, right? So I just made a video to talk about that. So that's how I started my YouTube channel. Yeah. But I mean, it's scary. It's definitely very scary. You don't know how much money you're making. But if you think about it, there are millions of freelancers out there. Why would they still be a freelancer if they're not making money, right? So I would suggest like before you become freelancing or before you do anything, you should test the water out first. So that's what I did, right? I just take on freelance work and I can see if this is taking me so much time to do freelancing. If not, right, if I don't have a lot of clients coming in, then definitely I don't want to like just quit my job and do full time, right? So you can kind of see a pattern before you do freelance. If your portfolios and everything is out there, you can sort of see a pattern of what people are reaching out to you, right? At that point, I don't get that anymore, but I constantly get people reaching out to me on AngelList from time to time, even when I was working full time, right? Yeah. I have company that would contact me like every week, pretty much like, hey, do you want to work for my startups? I like your work. Please work for us. And then at that point, I'm like, dude, like there's a market out there. And I turned this kind of full-time call into a contract work. So that's what happened, right? That's how it got started. So I can see that the demand is coming in, and I think I can make this as a sustainable business at that point. So that's why I quit. That's why I leave, and then I just quit doing full-time, right? And then do freelancing. But you can see a pattern before you start doing all these things as well.
Yeah, those signs that it's going to be productive. So you went from while you were a lifeguard, you taught yourself all this design stuff, got your first design job, and then freelanced.
No, I learned how to design from school. I went to college for design for about like 3 years, right? But I would not say my school has taught me anything.
I saw videos on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't think my school has taught me anything at all. At least not. I mean, after graduated from my school, right, I still have to go back and study all the fundamentals because they may cover like one lessons in fundamentals, right? But when you're in school, you're just sort of not. I don't know. I don't even know what I learned in school, but that did help me to get my first job, right? But
Yeah.
like if you're just thinking about the knowledge side, really a lot of things I'm just learning by myself, and on that's one reason why I started my YouTube channel as well. It's because before, back in the days, right, when I'm learning how to design, I research online. I find a lot of tutorials online from people that are in the industry for 7 years, 8 years, and then they try to give back to the community. They're like, yeah, I learned a lot of things on the internet, so I'm giving back now. So there's a guy called Blaz. I don't know his last name, but he's Australian. So when I first started learning, right, I discovered his website. So I go on his website. He has a bunch of free PSD. So he would constantly design some theme to put on his website for people to download for free. So you can use it for whatever purpose you want to use. And I think his design was really, really good. So that's why I keep downloading his design and study from how he designed, right? So whatever I design at that point, I would just go on his design and look at like how he used his margin spaces and all this like very detailed thing, right? Yeah. So learn a lot of things from downloading his templates. And I really like his spirits. Like I really like that he learned things and then he wanted to give back to the community. And that's what I think I would like to do as well. Like just this knowledge. I don't want people to, I don't make it for money. I literally get no money from YouTube, right? I don't expect that I will make any money from YouTube anyways. Yeah. But my thing is I just want to kind of share my thinking and knowledge back to the community for things that I've learned so far in the past like 6-7 years, right? That's why I would make it. But yeah, so far I don't remember your question. Maybe I just went a bit.
No, that was good. That was good. So now you got some good stuff. So if people are looking for resources, like, you've been through a bunch at this point, where would you recommend they start if they're trying to be designers, trying to do what you've done? Any like courses, books, websites, personalities?
I think, you know what, I think I mentioned another video I made as well. I really believe in like free knowledge. If I get the knowledge for free, I don't want to charge people for it, right? Like I don't want to charge people for something I got for free. Mm-hmm. So I really believe in free knowledge. And I do think that a lot of other people, they're making courses online and they ask you to pay for a certain amount of money to join their course, right? But I think, I don't know. Development, design, I think you can definitely learn a bunch of things online for free. One thing is, I think I cover some part in my video as well. How do you learn design from scratch? And one of the website I would recommend is the Blaz website. He's on Drupal as well. So I think I mentioned his link in the other video as well. So go on his website, download a bunch of his work. If you like web design, I think web design is definitely the start. If you want to get into UI and UX, I can talk too much about local design and other things because I'm not the expert in it. But like for web design and UI and UX, you can definitely study a lot of things from his templates. So you can study the font sizes he used. Padding, how does he use the grid system? So I basically learned everything from him, right? I copy, in my first year of designing, right? I can design something very similar to how he designed because I literally copy everything he has. So for my other clients' work, right? Because I'm working for an agency as well, I have to constantly design website for other people, right? So whatever website I take on, I will find one template that sort of look like that, not stealing his design, but will go to that template and I'll open it. I'll see what font size does he use, what is the padding, margin spaces. Mm-hmm. So just copy all those things for my client's work, right? It's just all of it. So the more I do it, right? That become my own design way as well. So I don't have to copy anymore. After I keep doing that for a few months, and then I can go on without copying his design anymore because that become my own design, right? Yeah. So I constantly improving my skill as well. Like that is my start. And then when I discover another studio called the Widget, I think that's how you call it. They have beautiful, they have really, really great work. So I copy again, I think my design phase is always copying other people. Even right now, I'm still copying a lot of other people, right? Yeah. So I found Widgets. So I think they have great design. So that's where I try to copy their style. So I copy one set of style, and then after a few months later, I copy another set of style. So I'm just constantly copying other people. Right now, I'm copying the top guys on Drupal. So there are a few guys that I really like their design, right? So right now, most of my design, I'm trying to like copy their style and learn from how they do it, right? So I think like for designers as well, this is one video that I didn't make. I think there are a few type of designers. The beginner type is a person that's just learning, right? I'm sort of in the middle right now. And the third type of people is the people that create the trend. So those are the people who are really, really talented.
I'm not copying on Drupal.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm very talented because I'm just copying, right? But those people, they never copy anybody. They just create the entire thing. Once when they do it, right?
Yeah.
Think about Stripe. What's the Stripe, right?
I love that site. I love that site. It's so
once
good.
that guy create that, almost like 10 clients coming to me, 3 of them will be like, we want to copy Stripe.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you want to eventually become, right? When you have the skill to create a trend that everybody will copy, right? Then you are the guy, right? So I think
I have that as like in a template folder I have for sites that I like love. That's
definitely. I mean, everybody want to copy Stripe. Every time when I get a call right now, I want to copy Stripe. I'll be like, you know what? That guy designed Stripe. Go contact that guy, right? I just can't. I don't want to do the same thing again and again. I just don't want. It's not something I enjoy doing. So.
Wow, you must be flush with business. Not like that.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, yeah. So I mean, personally, I think there are 3 layers of designers. One is the beginner. One is myself right now copying and trying to make a living. The other one is just creating the entire trend. So and I don't think I can be. I don't know. I don't think I'm talented enough to become that kind of people because you really have to become very talented. And you know what's interesting? All of those very good designers, the great one on Drupal, top 10. They never went to school. I look into their stories, right? Too, like that guy I love the most. Like he run a studio called Yuano.
Yeah.
He never went to school. He studied something totally different, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, I want to design now. So he just like pick on design himself, and then he started working for Google and all those big companies. Right? I was like, dude, how does that even happen? So I think he just figured the entire thing out himself.
Yeah. These guys are listed on Drupal. Is it like by page views on their creator profile, or what is it?
Well, if you follow guys, sometimes they will have people interview them, right? So it's like you're talking to me right now. They have like some interview call with some other people. Mm-hmm. So I've been following them for a while now, and I sort of know their backgrounds, right? So they'll tell people how did they get into design and what kind of they learn, right? So that's the thing that where I kind of know where they're from. And from that point, right, I'm like, dude, design is something that you can learn by yourself for sure. Mm. If you go to school, right, who's your teacher? Who's the teacher that's teaching you, right? Is your teacher very good? Yeah. Why is he very good? Very good. Why is he not working for Google, Apple? Yeah. Why would he be in a school teaching you what to do, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I mean, if you want to learn from the best people, learn from the best people and find the best people to learn from, which is on this kind of website, right?
Yeah.
You're the world-class designer. Do you want to learn from nobody in your school, or you learn from this world-class designer? And it's for free too. I'll definitely pick the world-class, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, I just to be honest, especially for design, I just don't see a point of going to school.
That's so interesting though, because I've talked to people now. Copywriting is a big one too, where people just will copy the letters and emails people write. They'll type them, they'll write them out to learn it. That you're doing that for design. Have you ever done that, or have you heard of anyone that's done that for development? Like gone on GitHub and found like really popular repositories and just started like looking through it, trying to code it themselves. Have you ever heard of that?
I think anything in life, anything you learn, you had to copy somebody first, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you're learning from your dad and mom to how to speak, how to walk. They teach you how to speak, how to walk, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to copy. I think copying is just the basic of learning everything. If you want to be good. I mean, something if you're totally new if you're doing something totally new, nobody else has ever done it before, then you have nobody to copy from. But like if you're doing something that's already out there and that gets what you're interested in doing, then I mean you have to copy somebody else first, right? So that's what I would say. You have to copy somehow. Even coding as well. I mean, I don't think I download somebody else's code to copy it. But I go to 3wschools.com. I mean, you have a lot of example there, so I still have to copy how they write their code, right? Mm-hmm. So I think copying is just one thing you have to go through if you're getting a new skill.
That's awesome advice. That's awesome. All right, well, We've been on an hour. That's an amazing tip to leave people with. I'm gonna cut it here, and then we can chat after the recording. Does that work for
Right.
you?
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks for
Okay.
chatting with me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.